promoter let us know off the rip. This little white she told us from the rip earlier that day, y'all probably don't want to go down to Trick Daddy party and promote because y'all kind of got the same name a little bit, and he like that.
The warning came early, but warnings in the rap game, they're usually just talk.
They called Trick Daddy on the phone. I guess he giving the okay to, you know, do whatever, make a long story short. So they like, y'all finna follow us to the after party. I'm like, no, dog, we gotta get back to the hotel. They're like, no, y'all finna follow us to the after party.
What started as a simple birthday party promotion quickly turned into something else entirely. Trick Daddy found himself being escorted, not invited to locations he didn't choose.
I was wired the minute that got to Detroit City. I knew what hotel room he was in. I knew what hotel he was staying in. I knew the that booked his room. I knew the mother promoter that booked it. I knew what time he went to the record store. Somebody was on his.
But this wasn't random street beef. Someone had been watching from the moment his plane touched down. Every move, every location, every breath.
Shortly afterwards, when we walked across the street, about 5-6 more carloads whipped up. Everybody want a piece of this. No way, family.
By the time Trick Daddy reached the club, the numbers weren't in his favor. What he thought was a performance had become an ambush.
Alright, wait till the motherfucker on stage with his third song. He on the stage talking shit to the audience. He got this motherfucker just jumping. When I turn around and look, they done rushed the stage already. They putting it down. Whooping every mother.
3 songs, that's all it took. The stage rush wasn't spontaneous, it was coordinated. And behind that coordination was a man who didn't need to throw a single punch to orchestrate the entire night.
Didn't nobody appreciate that. The listeners didn't appreciate it. MD, of course, didn't appreciate it. I damn sure didn't appreciate it. The city didn't appreciate it. One, because you don't let no come from out of town. You lay your hands on any in Detroit that's about something out of town, you are officially barred from Detroit.
That night, Miami swagger met Detroit strategy, and Trick Daddy learned that some cities don't just have rules, they have enforcers who make those rules reality. To understand what happened that night in Detroit, you first need to understand who Trick really is. Because when Trick Daddy rolled into the Motor City thinking he could flex his Miami muscle, he had no idea he was about to face Detroit's most feared enforcer. You see, most people think of dangerous rappers as studio gangsters who talk tough but live soft. But Christian Trick Mathis is not one of those rappers. In Detroit, his name carries the weight of genuine fear, respect, and a reputation built on real violence, real consequences, and real power that extends far beyond the recording booth. Born and raised in Detroit's unforgiving streets, Trick emerged from the notorious 7 Mile area, where survival wasn't just a concept, it was a daily reality. Unlike many rappers who adopted street personas for commercial appeal, Trick's credentials were written in blood, proven in courtrooms, and validated by the most dangerous streets in America.
You know what I'm saying? The name of my set was 7 Mile BK, you know what I'm saying? And then 7 Mile BK is 7 Mile Black Killer, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a black killer, not I kill blacks, you know what I'm saying? So it was different.
This wasn't playground talk. Trick had been putting in work since he was 14 years old, earning his stripes the hard way in one of Detroit's most violent neighborhoods. His affiliation with the 7 Mile Black Killers wasn't just a gang membership. It was a baptism by fire that shaped him into the enforcer he would become.
Every other gang, you know what I'm saying? In order to get down there, you gotta put in work, you know what I'm saying? And I've been putting in work since I was 14 years old, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? I earned my stripes, you know what I'm saying? I did my stay, I did my time in prison.
The turning point in Trick's legend came in 2003 with a murder case that would have destroyed most people's lives. Isaac Brown was sitting peacefully on his porch with his girlfriend and sister when a car pulled up. A man emerged and shot Brown dead in cold blood. The girlfriend, traumatized and seeking justice, identified Trick as the shooter. She was so certain that she brought a Goon Squad CD cover to the police station, pointing to his picture and swearing it was him.
This man talking about threatening people with a weapon is local gangster rapper Trick Trick.
Can't tell you about it. They took the first name that they heard and they ran with that. That was a terrible murder.
Police say they obtained a weapon similar to this one Trick Trick has in this video.
Trick Trick spent 6 months in jail, 6 months that would have broken most men. But instead of destroying him, the experience forged him into something harder. When the witness eventually changed her testimony and he was released, he emerged not as a victim of the system, but as a man who had stared down a murder charge and walked away. This wasn't just street credibility. This was the kind of real-world validation that money couldn't buy and image consultants couldn't manufacture. Eminem's decision to feature Trick Trick on Welcome to Detroit wasn't random. The world's biggest rapper was essentially vouching for Trick Trick's authenticity to a global audience. This collaboration wasn't just about music. It was Eminem's way of showing that when he needed real street credibility, he turned to Trick Trick. The message was clear. If you wanted to understand Detroit's real streets, you had to understand Trick Trick. This reputation extended beyond his personal story. Trick Trick was the driving force behind the Goon Squad, a collective that had evolved from a music group into something much more serious. His network included members from every major gang in Detroit: Crips, Bloods, Gangster Disciples, and local Detroit sets. This wasn't about traditional gang loyalty. It was about Detroit loyalty under Trick Trick's leadership.
I got GDs, you know what I'm saying? I got some Bloods, I got Crips, you know what I'm saying? It's whatever the you is, it don't matter to me.
This unique position allowed Trick Trick to transcend traditional gang boundaries and create something unprecedented: a unified Detroit front that answered to him personally. When Trick Trick spoke, it wasn't just one man's opinion. It was the voice of Detroit's most dangerous streets. But having this kind of power meant Trick Trick saw everything that happened in his city, including how outside artists were treating Detroit. And what he witnessed would eventually push him to use that unified network for something the hip-hop world had never seen before. With his network of gangs, street soldiers, and informants in place, Trick Trick began noticing a disturbing pattern. Artist after artist would roll into Detroit, collect their money from hungry hip-hop fans, and leave without showing any love to local talent or respect to the city that fed them. But now, unlike other Detroit rappers who had complained about this disrespect before, Trick Trick actually had the power to do something about it. The breaking point came with a series of incidents that demonstrated just how little regard some artists had for Detroit. When rappers would come to the city and make disparaging comments about Detroit's decline, its poverty, or its violence, while simultaneously profiting from performing for Detroit audiences, Trick Trick decided enough was enough.
We've had our share of altercations with various celebrities or artists, and it's not necessarily just rappers, you know. Just on the point of, you know what I'm saying, people saying and disrespectful about our city. I feel like, you know, this is my city. I'm a rap for this.
Trick Trick's loyalty to Detroit wasn't conditional. He didn't care about the city's problems, its corrupt politicians, or its failing infrastructure. Detroit was his city, and he would defend it against anyone who disrespected it, regardless of their fame or fortune.
I don't give a how many of our mayors get indicted. I don't give a how stupid our city council is, how crooked our police, how is, how unfaithful to the game a lot of these is. I'm a ride for this rotten mother is mine, it belongs to me.
The no-fly zone became official policy through Trick Trick's network of informants and enforcers. Hotel staff, promoters, record store employees, club owners, they all knew to call when certain artists came to town. This wasn't paranoia, it was a sophisticated intelligence network that made Trick Trick virtually omniscient within Detroit's borders. Rick Ross learned about the no-fly zone's reality the hard way in June 2014. The Miami rapper was scheduled to headline a summer jam concert at Sheen Park, one of Detroit's premier venues. But when Trick Trick made it clear that Ross wasn't welcome, the concert was abruptly canceled. The official reason given was that the rapper was in fear for his life.
What is going on with you and Detroit. There was a show that you were supposed to perform, right? And you made, you referenced it on your Twitter.
Right.
You made light of it. But now it's like the headlines are crazy. The blogs are like, Rick Ross is fearful of his life.
Ross tried to dispute this narrative in interviews, claiming he never felt threatened and that the situation was blown out of proportion. But the damage was done. The hip-hop world had witnessed the power of Trick Trick's no-fly zone in action. A major artist with millions of fans and significant industry backing had been effectively banned from performing in Detroit. The Rick Ross incident established a precedent that reverberated throughout the hip-hop industry. Artists and their management teams began to understand that Detroit wasn't just another tour stop. It was Trick Trick's territory, and entry required his approval. But the no-fly zone wasn't just about keeping people out. It was about demanding respect for Detroit's hip-hop culture and its artists. Trick Trick had watched too many outside artists profit from Detroit's audience without giving anything back to the city's struggling rap scene. The no-fly zone was his way of forcing the industry to acknowledge Detroit's importance and treat its artists with respect.
First, you can't come from nowhere. You can't be from out of town talking about somebody from Detroit. We got some going on here called unity. Something you might not never know nothing about. And we ain't having it. Just leave us the alone.
This unity wasn't just street rhetoric. It was a real coalition of Detroit's most dangerous elements, all answering to Trick Trick's leadership. When he spoke about unity, he was referring to something unprecedented. Rival gangs, independent crews, and street entrepreneurs all putting aside their differences to present a united front under his guidance. The no-fly zone was now in full effect, backed by real power and proven consequences. But Trick Trick's system was about to face its most dramatic test yet, from another rapper who shared his name and thought he could challenge Detroit's new order. The stage was set for disaster when Trick Daddy decided to bring his Miami swagger to Detroit. The confrontation wasn't random. It was the inevitable result of two strong personalities operating in the same space with fundamentally different understandings of respect and territory. Trick Daddy, born Maurice Samuel Young, had built his reputation in Miami's competitive hip-hop scene. He was known for his authentic street narratives and his ability to capture the struggle of South Florida's toughest neighborhoods. In Miami, he was the king, accustomed to respect and deference from other artists and street figures. But Detroit operated by different rules, and Trick Daddy was about to learn that his Miami credentials meant nothing in Trick Trick City. The first warning signs came when a white female promoter tried to warn Trick Trick and his crew about potential problems with Trick Daddy's appearance.
Trick Daddy got his little birthday party going on. The promoter let us know off the rip. This little white she told us from the rip earlier that day, y'all probably don't want to go down to Daddy party and promote because y'all kind of got the same name a little bit. She told us.
The promoter's warning wasn't just about name confusion. It was about Trick Daddy's attitude and his unwillingness to show proper respect to Detroit's established hierarchy. Word had already spread through Detroit's hip-hop community that Trick Daddy was demanding that Trick Trick change his name, claiming that he had worked harder for the Trick moniker.
Basically telling me I gotta change my name because Trick Daddy worked hard for his name. So I'm like, okay, he worked hard for his name, so what the did I do? Nothing. I'm like, this here, blood, you know what I'm saying? I ain't.
This demand was more than just disrespectful. It was a direct challenge to Trick Trick's authority in his own city. In Detroit's street culture, respect isn't negotiable, and demanding that an established figure change his name to accommodate an outsider was tantamount to a declaration of war. The situation escalated when Trick Daddy's crew began showing their weapons and making threats. What had started as a simple name dispute was rapidly evolving into something much more dangerous.
The way they was approaching it, they had their mags and so I'm like, all right, I see what type of party this is, you know what I'm saying? They looking at my jury.
Trick Trick recognized the threat immediately. Trick Daddy's crew was armed and aggressive, making it clear that they were prepared for violence. But instead of backing down or escalating immediately, Trick Trick began to implement the methodical approach that had made him so dangerous. The Miami crew's mistake was assuming that Trick Trick was just another regional rapper who could be intimidated or pushed around. They had no understanding of his network, his resources, or his reputation for calculated violence. When they called Trick Daddy to get permission to handle Trick, they were essentially signing their own death warrants.
They called Trick Daddy on the motherfucking phone. I guess he giving the okay to, do whatever, to make a long story short. So they like, y'all finna follow us to the after party.
The demand that Trick follow them to an after party in the hood was the final insult. This wasn't just disrespect. It was an obvious setup for violence. Trick Daddy's crew was trying to isolate Trick in unfamiliar territory where they could control the situation. But they had miscalculated completely. Trick wasn't some random rapper who could be intimidated or eliminated easily. He was Detroit's most connected and dangerous figure, with resources that extended far beyond what Trick Daddy's crew could imagine.
I could get hostile with these right now. Like, we ain't going nowhere, and then get these hostile to whip out them things, you know what I'm saying?
Trick's analysis of the situation showed his tactical thinking. He could engage in immediate violence, but that would be unpredictable and potentially costly. Instead, he chose a more strategic approach that would demonstrate his superior intelligence and resources.
Well, I could play a Jedi man trick on these motherfuckers. And, you know what I'm saying, change their whole train of thought. So I had to sick on another guy to block some traffic up so these can't get out the light. The light turned green, we just cruised on through the light.
This tactical decision to block traffic and escape the immediate confrontation wasn't cowardice. It was strategic genius. Trick understood that the real confrontation would come later, on his terms, in his city, with his people. He was setting the stage for a demonstration of power that would be far more devastating than a simple street fight. As Trick Daddy drove away that night, probably thinking he had punked some local Detroit rapper, he had no idea what he had just activated. The first encounter was over, but now Trick's entire intelligence network was about to prove why the no-fly zone was more than just talk. When Trick Daddy returned to Detroit for his scheduled performance, he walked into a city that had become his prison. Every move he made was being watched, every location he visited was being reported, and every person he encountered was potentially feeding information back to Trick. The sophistication of Trick's intelligence network was something that Trick Daddy couldn't have imagined. This wasn't just street-level surveillance. It was a coordinated effort involving hotel staff, record store employees, mall security, and dozens of other seemingly innocent sources.
When he got in town, though, this stupid I don't even know. When he got in town, I was wired the minute that got to Detroit City. I knew what hotel room he was in. I knew what hotel he was staying in. I knew the that booked his room.
This level of intelligence gathering revealed the true extent of Trick's power in Detroit. He wasn't just a rapper with street connections. He was operating a sophisticated network that could track and monitor any target within the city limits. Hotel clerks, booking agents, and venue staff were all part of his information pipeline.
I knew the motherfucking promoter that booked the I knew what time he went to the record store. Somebody was on his at the mall. Every step that made, they was on his ass.
The psychological impact of this surveillance was intentional. Trick wanted Trick Daddy to know that he was being watched, that his every movement was being reported, and that there was nowhere in Detroit where he could hide. This wasn't just about the upcoming confrontation. It was about demonstrating the futility of challenging Trick's authority in his own city. The venue where Trick Daddy was scheduled to perform had special significance for Trick. It wasn't just another club. It was essentially his home base, a place where he had connections with staff, security, and management.
You know what I'm saying? That the club he was coming to was kind of like my club. It was like my home. It wasn't an outcast, but it was my home.
This relationship with the venue gave Trick additional advantages. He could control access, manipulate security, and ensure that his people were positioned strategically throughout the building. When Trick Daddy arrived to perform, he was walking into enemy territory disguised as a neutral venue. The buildup of Trick's forces was methodical and overwhelming. This wasn't just a spontaneous gathering of street thugs. It was a coordinated mobilization of Detroit's most dangerous elements.
And get down to the club, it's already 17, 18 was down there outside in the lot waiting on me to get there, let alone the 10, 15 in the club. Shortly afterwards, when we walked across the street, about 5, 6 more carloads whipped up. Everybody wanted to.
The numbers tell the story of Trick Trick's power. Nearly 40 of his people were positioned around the venue before the confrontation even began. This wasn't a fair fight. It was an overwhelming display of force, designed to send a message not just to Trick Daddy, but to anyone else who might consider challenging Trick Trick's authority. The anticipation was palpable as word spread that Trick Daddy was in the building. Trick Trick's network had been tracking him all day, and now the moment of reckoning had arrived. The Miami rapper had no idea that he was walking into the most dangerous situation of his career.
Family. Say he in the bathroom. You want to get in? No, leave him alone. Hold on. Shut up. He's in the bathroom.
The fact that Trick Daddy was reportedly hiding in the bathroom when Trick Trick arrived spoke volumes about the psychological impact of the situation. The Miami rapper, known for his tough persona and street credibility, was reduced to cowering in a bathroom while Trick Trick's forces surrounded the venue.
And I hear him talking to somebody that said, you know what I'm saying, there's some here, this, that, the other. He like, and they say he in the bathroom talking about, I don't give a we got something for whatever, we got something for them.
The casual dismissal of Trick Daddy's location showed Trick Trick's confidence in his position. Whether Trick Daddy was in the bathroom, on stage, or anywhere else in the venue, the outcome was inevitable. Trick Trick had the numbers, the position, and the home field advantage. All the surveillance, all the planning, all the positioning had led to this moment. When Trick Daddy finally stepped onto that stage, he would learn the difference between Miami tough and Detroit dangerous. The confrontation that followed became legendary in hip-hop circles, not just for its violence, but for the calculated way it demonstrated the difference between real street power and manufactured tough guy personas. When Trick Daddy finally took the stage for his performance, he was walking into a trap that had been set hours earlier. Trick Trick's positioning was strategic. He knew that when his forces rushed the stage, Trick Daddy would instinctively run in the opposite direction, directly into Trick Trick's waiting hands.
I say, yeah, I turn around and look. They go back on the other side of the stage. I turn around and look. I say, I know when they come rushing the stage that way, he gonna run this way. I can grab him, you know what I'm saying, and serve his up.
The attack was swift and overwhelming. Trick Trick's forces didn't just target Trick Daddy, they demolished everyone associated with him, including innocent bystanders who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
When I turn around and look, they done rushed the stage already. They putting it down. Whooping every body in the goddamn way. You got nothing to do with it? Ain't your problem?
The violence was indiscriminate and brutal. This wasn't a targeted assassination. It was a statement beating designed to humiliate Trick Daddy and demonstrate the consequences of disrespecting Detroit. Anyone who was with Trick Daddy's crew or appeared to be supporting him became a target.
You don't know nothing? Don't know nothing. Step the fuck back. You know what I'm saying? Leave this shit alone. Serving this motherfucker. This bitch runs down the stairs. I run down the stairs. I got his jacket. His man holding on to my shirt. I'm mopping his.
The chaos that followed was complete. Trick Trick personally pursued Trick Daddy through the venue, determined to put hands on the Miami rapper himself. This wasn't about delegating violence to subordinates. Trick Trick wanted to personally deliver the message. The image of Trick Trick chasing Trick Daddy through the venue, jacket in hand, became part of Detroit hip-hop folklore. The Miami rapper, who had built his career on projecting strength and street credibility, was running for his life from a man who represented real danger. The aftermath of the beatdown was swift and decisive. Police arrived to find Trick Daddy's crew battered and humiliated, while Trick Trick's forces had already melted away into the Detroit night. The message had been delivered, and everyone in the venue understood what had just happened.
Police tell that motherfucker, bitch, you walk around that motherfucker corner, you ain't coming. He got it, but he didn't get it like he should have got it.
The police response was telling. Rather than conducting a massive investigation or making arrests, they essentially told Trick Daddy to leave Detroit and not come back. This wasn't just street justice, it was justice that the authorities were willing to tolerate, understanding that Trick Daddy had brought the violence on himself through his disrespect and aggression. The beating served multiple purposes beyond just punishing Trick Daddy. It sent a message to every other artist in the hip-hop industry that Detroit wasn't just another tour stop. It was Trick's domain, and entry required his approval. The no-fly zone had been enforced in the most dramatic way possible.
2 artists that ended up happening between 1 artist, a band, and 1,000 more for other to come to Detroit, for the Detroit out even. It's a bad move. If you lay your hands on any Detroit that's about something out of town, you are officially barred from Detroit.
The ripple effects of this confrontation extended far beyond the immediate participants. Other artists and their management teams took note of what had happened to Trick Daddy. If a rapper with his street credibility and industry connections could be humiliated so completely in Detroit, then no one was safe from Trick's reach. The incident also demonstrated the difference between regional street credibility and national street power. Trick Daddy might have been respected in Miami, but that respect didn't transfer to Detroit streets. Trick's network, intelligence gathering, and ability to mobilize overwhelming force showed that he operated on a different level entirely. Years later, the Trick Daddy incident remains one of the most significant examples of the Detroit no-fly zone's enforcement. It established precedents that continue to influence how artists approach performing in Detroit and demonstrated that Trick's reputation for violence wasn't just image, it was reality backed by overwhelming force and strategic thinking. The night Trick Daddy found out how dangerous Trick really was became a cautionary tale that spread throughout the hip-hop industry. It showed that authenticity couldn't be manufactured, that real street power couldn't be faked, and that some cities, particularly Detroit, operated by rules that outsiders violated at their own peril. For Trick, the incident reinforced his position as Detroit's ultimate enforcer and proved that his no-fly zone wasn't just a marketing gimmick. It was a real policy with real consequences. The Miami rapper who had demanded respect had learned that in Detroit, respect wasn't given. It was earned through understanding the hierarchy that Trick had established through years of calculated violence and strategic thinking. Anyway, that's it for this video, and thanks for watching. Bye.